When you were little, what did you want to be when you grew up?
A car salesman.
Said no one ever.
I'm Patrick Hennessy, and this is the Be Less Typical in Car Sales podcast, a real-life account of the car business that breaks the perception of what it's like to be a car sales professional. During the show, we're going to take you into the lives and minds of those that have found success. So, ignite your passion and get ready to learn effective hacks to streamline your success and boost your income.
So, is that your pitch? It's pretty good. Hi, I'm Courtney. Previously on Be Less Typical, we met Melissa Granke. She shared with us how she uses video to build rapport and help educate her customers. She also told us how she takes time to walk her customers through all of their options when purchasing. And I was able to talk with one of her previous customers, Wendell, about his purchase experience with Melissa.
This is Wendell.
Hi, Wendell. It's Courtney Hennessy.
Oh, hey, how are you?
Wendell tells me that when he purchases a car, he does a lot of research up front. And when it's time to go to the dealership, he takes some time walking the lot before he goes in for his appointment with the salesperson. He's primed himself to haggle and doesn't take his checkbook so that he doesn't get sold before he's had time to think through his purchase. But with Melissa, it was different.
I always sort of go in ready to haggle, and I didn't feel like I needed to.
He didn't feel like he needed to haggle because Melissa was upfront with him and gave him all of his options, which put him at ease. And on the day of delivery,
He came in on her day off and met me and took the keys for the old car and the check and handed me the keys for the new car, and they'd had it washed and detailed. It was good to go. So that last day of coming in to, like I said, I didn't even know she was coming in on her day off, but I was there no more than half an hour, I guess. Dropped off an old car and left it with a new one.
that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it was pretty easy.
And based on this experience, would you purchase from Melissa again?
Yep, absolutely.
Melissa's way of doing business pays off. If you haven't already, we encourage you to go back and listen to episode number 2, where Melissa shares her sales strategies.
On today's episode, we are going to mix things up a bit and start off a little different than we normally do. Today, we are going to start with a big fish story.
Okay.
Well, for example, there was this one time that I was up fishing on the South Fork of the Little Bear. And my brother-in-law at the time was, very big fisherman. They fished tournaments and everything else. And I was embarrassed to be fishing because I'm not a good fisherman. So they went off one way and I went off the other way, and I'm floating this worm off the bottom below this beaver dam and, down this eddy, and I keep getting all these snags below this beaver dam, and all of a sudden I get another, I think it's another stag, and I'm sitting there reeling in my hook again. I'm about frustrated beyond belief, and I'm ready to, throw in the towel, and all of a sudden this head breaks the water. And this thing stares at me, and I stare at him, and boom, we both realize what the other one's there for, and jing, my drag starts, and it takes off, and I'm fighting, and I'm jumping up and down, and I'm, get a net! And my wife's laughing at me, laying on the floor, and everything, on the bank, and stuff, and I pulled in this 9.5-pound rainbow, and you still have it stuffed and mounted, and I can tell you. Now, Patrick, if I were to tell you that, would you say that I enjoy fishing, or do I not?
It would sound like to me that you enjoyed fishing.
I think fishing is the single biggest waste of time to man. I think that fishing is just, to go out and drown worms and catch something that I will either release because I don't want to eat it is just stupid to me. It's asinine. Okay? However, in that one moment, I caught a glimpse of why someone could do it. And I truly, truly felt absolute elation, exuberant, and everything else. So I got it.
Meet Bryan Armstrong, e-commerce director of Volkswagen Southtown, a guy who's passionate about connecting with people by being transparent, honest, and trustworthy. A guy who thinks about car sales from the customer's perspective and trains his staff to speak from the heart, not from a script. A guy who has an inspiring story to share and some great tips on how to prepare yourself to be successful in sales. But before we get to all of that, let's finish the fish story.
Because that one fishing time that I drowned a worm and something bit it and I pulled it up on the shore, and it made me very excited, and how proud I was to go back and, nonchalantly stroll into camp. Oh, this? Yeah, no biggie. I mean, and that was so cool.
I love it.
So, now I can communicate well with the fishermen. I won't understand anything after that thing, but I really understand one thing. I understand his passion or her passion for fishing because I felt it.
The ability to understand and share the feelings of another. That is the definition of empathy. Bryan doesn't like fishing, yet because he's exposed himself to it, he was able to understand how and why others might. He stood in their shoes. And even though he doesn't like to fish, he did have fun. I mean, he's still telling his big fish story. He even has his big fish stuffed and mounted to be remembered forever.
I can relate this to a consumer's experience purchasing a vehicle. Most of our customers don't like shopping for a car. The dealership is many times uncharted territory for them. They are unfamiliar with the process and what's going to happen during each step. They don't understand the car sales lingo or slang terminology we use when describing vehicle options or paperwork. Think ACV, the first or second pencil, or a TO.
And they're probably too embarrassed to ask for clarification because they don't want to feel stupid.
Exactly. So it's our job as salespeople to provide a big fish kind of experience, to surprise our customers by talking to them like they are human in a language they understand, explaining the process and product in a way that educates and provides options to best fit the customer's needs. And if we are able to create an unforgettable experience, a big fish experience, our customers will share that, just like Bryan is sharing his story and experience with us, which ultimately creates customers for life and a funnel of referral business.
And here's the cool thing, that the experiences that we go through in life really kind of make up the glasses through which we see a situation.
Now that is a profound lesson. A lesson and a truth that impacts every aspect of our lives and every interaction we have with another person. Yet, in many circumstances, this experiential lens or set of glasses is many times overlooked. We forget that everyone is different and that everyone sees things from a different perspective. Maybe Bryan recognizes this because of his own experiential set of glasses.
If we begin back when Bryan was a little boy, he wanted to be a lawyer or a farmer. However, he pursued an education in political science and Japanese, an education that doesn't have many opportunities in Utah, which is where he and his first wife chose to live. They choose Utah because at the time, Utah has one of the best medical facilities to treat his wife, who needs a heart transplant. And to have the flexibility to care for his wife, Bryan took a job as a maintenance guy in the apartment complex where they live and got a part-time job as a convenience store clerk. While he's working at the convenience store, he begins to notice a pattern in the types of calls the store is getting. Customers are calling and asking for advice on who to call for home repairs or help with maintenance. Bryan takes note and he starts his first business.
And so I started a maintenance company called Bryan Armstrong Maintenance. And one call, bam, it's done. That was the tagline.
He grows this business and many others after into thriving entities. Once thriving, he sells and starts another. And this goes on for a while until things get really tough.
So my first wife passed away, and I made some very poor life choices. And then when I was sitting around and after I pulled my head out, I decided, you know what? There were two things I'd always wanted to try, and one was to be a waiter and the other was to do car sales. But I didn't want to go do car sales because it didn't speak to me per se as far as like personal integrity, and that was important to me.
Bryan starts waiting tables at Denny's. He works the late shift, so he's handling the dinner rush as well as the late night crowd. He loves it. He's having fun and creating an environment and describes it like this.
1, 2.
I'd have people up bunny hopping in my section and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and it was a lot of fun.
And it's while working at Denny's that he meets Tamara.
Yeah, I had this young little blonde girl that would come and sit in my section 4 times a week and just order a vanilla Diet Coke. And I was clueless, of course, and finally one day she looked at me and says, "When are you going to ask me out for pizza?" And I looked at her, Patrick, and I said, "Does it have to be pizza?" And swept her off her feet, and a couple years later we got married.
Waiting tables is fun, but after a while, Bryan gets bored and needs a new challenge. And it's about at that time when he gets a call from his friend Ron Thompson, who tells him he should consider selling cars.
In 2001, he reached out to me and said, "You should come sell cars." And I looked at him and I said, "But I can't lie for a living." And there you go. And so, hence my career was born, I guess you could say.
Bryan starts in sales. He studies his product knowledge and the sales script.
So, anyway, Tamara and I would sit back to back when I first got into the car business, and I would practice my phone script on her. Mm-hmm. And she would critique me because she doesn't like car salesmen. Mm-hmm. And I would ask her, "Does this sound scripted? Does this sound scripted? Does it sound scripted?" And just relentlessly practiced until it became just more me than script.
Practicing what you say and how you say it is an important lesson. Your sales pitch and product knowledge need to be ingrained into your memory so that you don't have to think about it. It becomes natural and a part of you. This will make you more comfortable with your presentation and customer interaction. And your customers will notice too.
Once Bryan masters sales, he moves into management, spends some time in the F&I, or the box as he likes to call it, and becomes a general sales manager. Eventually, he settles into his current role of e-commerce director at Volkswagen Southtown, a place where good things happen.
I'm still a guy that I'm a salesperson that takes everything very personal and wants to understand it from, the customer's perspective, because then that shows me what I need to do to be able to overcome that.
He enlists his empathy and begins to follow the process that a customer would if they were searching for a vehicle. He takes notes as he looks at dealership websites, not just his own website, but dealership websites across the country. He notes what he likes and his frustrations, and he decides that he's going to make some changes to Southtown's internet strategy.
Be seen as the source of information rather as the adversary for that information to be used against.
People have so much information at their fingertips these days that when they come into the dealership asking you a question, it's really a zero moment of truth.
That zero moment of truth, not to quote a overused phrase, but the whole notion of showrooming is not so much the customer double checking to see if they're getting the best price, but rather verifying whether you're trustworthy or not.
Because they probably already know the price of the vehicle. And clearly, most of us know that honesty is the best policy. So when we're upfront and honest, it can get frustrating when customers come in trying to twist things up or don't want to be forthcoming with answers to the questions we're asking. And sometimes customers even go so far as lying to us.
I remember this happening to me in the past. I had a customer that used to email me only in capital letters. The size of his font was, super size, and it felt like he was always yelling at me. I know he used fake names on multiple occasions, and I didn't really expect much when he finally came into the dealership, and I truthfully think that he wasn't expecting very much from us either. But I remember that my internet team and I, we just put the give mentality to work and provided him with the information he wanted. We didn't fight about offering him price, and before you knew it, he was starting to smile a little, and he was laughing out loud. And I tell you what, that kind of approach now, he's bought multiple cars from me, and I think he only buys cars from me, and he's referred his son and family over and over again. So
the thing we need to remember, which is the thing we also tend to forget, is that pair of experiential glasses that the customer is looking through.
We have a reputation in the car industry, and it's well deserved. That's the biggest thing. It's so easy to get offended and to sit there and take it personal that these customers don't believe you, or they don't trust you, or that they will lie to you. and you just want to scream and say, but that wasn't me, that's not me. And trust me, the more that I know about your needs, the more I'm able to serve you and maybe even save you some time and money.
Once we can prove ourselves and provide a big fish type of experience for our customers by being honest and empathetic, listening and working to serve them the way they want to be served, then we as salespeople find success. As Bryan puts it,
serve people, help them attain what they need to obtain, and do it in such a way that is beneficial to them, and you will benefit consequentially. It's weird that the higher up you push someone else up that ladder of success, the higher you also will go. So whether the relationship is, consumer facing or business facing, help somebody else achieve what they need to achieve, and you will just naturally get what you need.
I love that. A good rule to live by. If we serve people the way they want to be served and help them achieve what they want to achieve, we will also be gifted their trust. And that's something we, as an industry, need to begin working towards.
The challenge that we have in the industry is continue in the vein of being able to deserve the trust, and that needs to start from the marketing side, clear down to the to the actual point of sale, and in the servicing the customer beyond, and then that will pay off huge dividends.
Huge dividends. We all want that. We want our hard work and empathy and honesty to be rewarded. We want to be successful and provide positive customer experiences, thereby earning referral business.
And all of these items plus more are in Southtown's mission statement. A mission statement that sets the tone and is embodied in the culture of the dealership.
It says our mission statement perfectly represents our business philosophy that if you treat your employees and your guests with respect and honesty, success will follow.
All new hires get a laminated card with the mission statement on it. They are charged with committing the statement to memory, and it's not just a few sentences. The mission statement is a few paragraphs and outlines the moral compass and goals of the dealership. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, no one would memorize this. But Bryan says they all know it.
You may be thinking, my dealership doesn't have a mission statement, or if they do, they don't require that I commit it to memory, so I'll just skip this step. But I challenge you to define your own mission statement. What code of conduct are you going to hold yourself accountable to? If you define your mission, commit it to memory, and ingrain it into your being, you begin to live by it. And this makes every decision and interaction you have so much easier. Because when in doubt, you can always refer back to this statement and ask yourself, am I aligned with my mission?
And number one in customer service in every market in which we do business, thereby improving the quality of life for everyone involved in our culture.
Mission established. Now, let's lay the framework for understanding the psychology of a sale, the price-value formula.
So many times the customer will hammer on price, and we spend countless hours trying to learn how to overcome price objections, and that to me is just stupid. And this is why. Because price doesn't sell cars. Customers are trained to ask about price because it's the only thing they know what to ask. It's the thing that the internet tells them they're supposed to ask. It's the thing that they were supposed to get out front first and foremost. That way you don't get screwed over. Well, it's BS.
So asking about price is almost like a Pavlovian response. Yep, I'm dropping the big words on you now. A Pavlovian response is a conditioned response. For example, let's say I have a cocktail party to attend tonight. I've already purchased my little black dress, and all I need is the perfect pair of shoes to go with it. And I can picture in my mind the exact type of strappy sandal that I want. So I go to the department store, and when I get there, the salesperson approaches me and says, "Can I help you?" And my automatic response is what? I'm just looking. Now, I know I'm going to purchase a pair of shoes today, and I know exactly what I'm looking for, but I'm conditioned to say, just looking. And many times it's the same type of response we get when someone comes into the dealership and the first and only point of discussion is price. Reality is that price is just a fixed amount or cost required to complete a transaction. Value is what's important.
Whereas value is perceived worth. So in my opinion, the job of a salesman is to obviously make sure that the value exceeds the price, because when that happens, a transaction will occur.
Okay, so value needs to exceed price. We got it. Now let's break down how you can learn product knowledge using a systematic, categorized approach that will help you tie vehicle options or features to the customer's wants or needs, which in turn allows you to build the value.
Bryan tasks his sales team with taking each feature or option on the vehicle and categorizing the benefits of that option into 3 categories: performance, safety, or economy.
They write down every feature on a car, and every single day they pick one feature, and they are tasked with coming up with a performance, a safety, and an economy feature on every single item on the car. From the interior trunk release, which is tough, by the way, to the gas cap. I don't care what it is.
Once you've categorized the benefits of each feature into those 3 categories, you can then tie them to the customer's needs and wants. For example, let's say a customer tells you that they have 3 children and they're planning to use the vehicle for long family trips, and they're concerned with gas mileage. You take this information and categorize it to align with your feature benefit presentation. Mr. Customer, what I hear you saying is that safety and economy are important to you. And when you're doing your vehicle walk-around, you highlight the options on the vehicle that are safety and economy related.
It's much more powerful if you precede that with, earlier you told me safety was important to you. This vehicle is equipped with this.
And then you pull out a safety benefit of that particular vehicle. And if you end up showing more than one vehicle to the customer, and the second vehicle has a few of the same options as the first, on the next vehicle walk-around, you change things up.
Then you're doing the same exact walk-around, and the other car has anti-lock brakes as well. Now you want to be able to keep it fresh. Now, why not say, hey, earlier you told me that economy was important to you. And remember, this vehicle is equipped with anti-lock brakes. And I know that on the previous one, I've already explained how they work. But one of the neat things about that is that the majority of brake repairs are caused by overheating and warping of the rotor, the caliper, and that glazing of the pad. And that happens because those brakes don't have enough time to cool down. And with the anti-lock brakes, it's actually, when that brake releases, it allows the brake to cool, thereby elongating the life and costing you less to maintain down the road. And let's face it, isn't it going to be nice that your new car is going to keep you safe and save you money?
I really like this, especially if you're new to the business, or even just new to selling a particular brand of vehicle. It's going to take some time to itemize each feature and then categorize the benefits, but this will help you learn product knowledge. And you've now created a simple way to present the features on the vehicle and tie them to the customer's wants or needs. Once you've done both of those things, making that connecting point of performance, safety, or economy builds the value you need to sell the vehicle.
So now let's take it one step further. You've outlined the features and you know the benefits. Now you need to get to know the vehicle and what you personally like about some of the options. So take every vehicle on the lot for a test drive and write down 3 things you like about it. Those 3 things can be used during your vehicle walk-around as advantages or impacts of an option. And it will mean something to your client because it's the truth based on your actual experience.
Truth rings out to everyone, and people will hear it in your voice. So when you say, with that kind of conviction, oh, you know what I love about this car, and it is something that you really love about the car, and then you're doing your other walk-around points with some of the features and benefits of the car, then you come across sincere, because you are sincere at that point. Mm-hmm. Every one of those things is something that you've pre-thought of. You really believe that to be an advantage, or you wouldn't be able to come up with it, because it's something you came up with, not something a book taught you. And those features that you liked or enjoyed about the vehicle are really things that you wrote down and thought were cool about that car.
A sincere presentation that outlines the features, benefits, and advantages in a way that align with your customers' wants and needs. Bryan likes to call it,
I prefer it to, say it, explain it, love it, leave in it.
Great advice for how to prepare and present a vehicle walk-around.
And you've pulled it out, you've blown the hatches, and you've differentiated it from all the other cars that are on the lot that look the same way.
It's this type of presentation that makes a big fish type of experience, one that stands out among the rest. And many times, this is the step we skip, the vehicle walk-around. So slow down. Make sure you're asking the customer questions to understand their needs, and then show them the different vehicles you have to fit those needs.
Another great tip that I live by, that we all should live by regardless of where you work, is the 3-foot rule. The rule is that if someone is within 3 feet of you, you introduce yourself and ask if you can be of assistance. It seems simple, but there are countless times when this doesn't happen. The customers end up wandering around the showroom without being greeted. This is one of my pet peeves. It doesn't matter what the customer has come into the dealership for. It's our job to make them feel comfortable and to be of assistance however we can. This is also a pet peeve of Bryan's.
And you have to remember that we are ladies and gentlemen, serving ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that's just your thing. You practice the 3-foot rule. You practice the thing. Our meet and greet is very, very simple and standard. And it's, you know what, welcome to VW Southtown. How may I serve you? And I don't care if they come in and ask for the restroom. You walk the customer to it, show them where it is. You don't just drop somebody and say, oh, service? Yeah, they're over there. You know? You walk them to, you say, Brandon, this is so-and-so. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, sir. Whatever, he's here for service. Could you assist him, please? Thank you. Sir, I'll be right over here if you need anything. By the way, my name is Bryan Armstrong, and I'd be happy to help. Have a great day. You know, you walk away. Yeah, I mean, you don't know how many times my sales guys will get paged back over to service because they walked that customer to it, and all of a sudden the customer's presented with a service RO that is, you know, beyond what they really want to reinvest in their car. And they say, well, okay, maybe it is time to trade.
Yep. So not only is it the courteous and professional thing to do, it sets you apart from the rest. And you never know, that customer could very well be your next sale.
We've covered a lot so far. We've established the importance of a mission statement, explained the difference between price and value, taught you the definition of Pavlovian, outlined a strategic approach to the vehicle walkaround, and shared the 3-foot rule, which is a best practice. Lots and lots of amazing information that Bryan has shared. And he has one final recommendation, a task that he charges his salespeople with once they've completed the dealership's sales training program.
And we make them secret shop another dealer. And this is one of the things, and that includes calling other dealers. I'll tell you what, and you take all the things that you hated about your experience and you just make sure that you never repeat them.
So very, very true. Which brings us back to the lesson Bryan shared with us up front.
And here's the cool thing, that the experiences that we go through in life really kind of make up the glasses through which we see a situation.
If we are able to put ourselves in the customer's shoes, we can learn how to see our business through their eyes, thereby allowing us to learn how they want to be treated, what they value, and so on.
It's no wonder people come in hesitant, because they've been told that we're going to take advantage of it, and we're going to take all this emotion and everything else that's tied into it, and we're going to use it against them. No. You know what? Understand it, tap into it, and use it with them so that you can, help them achieve what they want to achieve, and at the same time, be able to, of course, you end up serving yourself as well.
Bryan says we should feel honored to help customers with their purchase decision.
And I think that we're in an industry where you should be absolutely honored, because we are allowed every day to be involved in such a personal decision that affects someone in their life for a long time on so many different levels. And to be given that type of trust, and to be given that type of honor is something that should be very gratifying, and it should be recognized by every single one of us.
And at the end of the day,
the biggest thing that I would say is that, be yourself, be authentic, and that as the guard changes, make sure that you're not focusing on all the negativity and the things that are, in our business, and instead really, really embrace the future, and know that with service you can make insane amounts of money in this business, and you do it all the time and feel good about it. You can look in the mirror at the end of the day, and you can look the kids in the eye, and you can say, you know what, I'm an honorable person, and I've done this with integrity. So it's people will pay more for good service. They absolutely will.
Bryan truly is less typical. His outlook, conviction to a customer-centric sales process, and his passion for helping others is truly outstanding.
Here's another interesting tidbit. I actually connected with Bryan on LinkedIn. I didn't know him before this interview, but he has this robust profile with over 500 connections and 99 plus skill endorsements on multiple skill sets. His profile is filled with recommendations and testimonials on what a great guy and businessman he is. And I wanted to know how he created this community on that particular social platform. He told me it's from the relationships he's built by adding value or helping someone out.
And it's because I've answered a question, or I've responded to a request, or I've done something like this. I guess it's no different than this. You guys reached out to me and you said, hey, we're trying to start something new. I think that this is a great thing that you guys are doing. So why would I not want to help somebody that's trying to better the industry that I love? And that's no different than anything else that I've ever done, is to be able to sit there and say, okay, when people have reached out to me for help, and that's why you see the recommendations I do. I didn't solicit those, and I didn't solicit the people I connected with. They asked me to connect with them because I provided value to them in their life. That's it.
Bryan mentioned this lesson earlier in the episode. If you help others find or achieve what they're looking for, you will naturally find success as a result. And it's clear that this isn't just a line he throws at his team members. This is something Bryan does in his everyday life. You can see it on his LinkedIn page and throughout this episode.
Therefore, we wanted to share something that did not come up in our conversation with Bryan. And I believe it didn't come up because he was focused on helping us and you. Bryan and Tamara are the parents of 4 adopted children. They have fostered an additional 23 children, and their family is dealing with some challenging medical issues. Tamara has several conditions, which I won't even attempt to explain, except to say that she needs to get to the Mayo Clinic. Her life depends on it. And according to the online community, many people have pulled together to support them. We encourage you to go and take a look for yourself and consider pitching in. Search #CarStrong or the GoFundMe, Get Tamara to the Mayo Clinic. It's a great cause, and any small contribution you can make to give back to a man who has clearly devoted his life to helping others would be appreciated. We will provide a link in our show notes at belesstypical.com/003.
A special thank you to Bryan, the car guy Armstrong, of Volkswagen Southtown, for being a guest on the show, and to Wendell for sharing his customer experience.
Our theme song is by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder, and all episode editing and mixing is done by us, a couple of amateurs learning as we go.
If you or anyone you know are conducting car sales in a less typical way, please reach out to us. We want to hear your story, and there's a chance you could be featured on an upcoming show. Message us on Facebook or Twitter at BeLessTypical, or on our website, belesstypical.com. And don't forget to subscribe in iTunes.
And leave a review. Behind the scenes.
Hey, I just want to let you know that my wife Courtney, who's my business partner, I guess we are, and
business partner and wife,
is here on the line with us, just so you know that she's sitting. Yeah, something like that.
He got a combo pack.
I guess I haven't really introduced her like that yet, so.